Well, very happy, obviously, and especially after international breaks when you know that you have to again align and regroup everybody. And you could tell that in the first 10 minutes that we were a bit still getting that rhythm. But afterwards, I think watching the game back that we deserve to win the game. There are things to improve, but we take the win and we move on now for the Champions League match.
And just a question on fitness. Pierre Hincapié trained before the match against Fulham, but wasn't in the squad. Saw him on the pitch earlier. Is he available for tomorrow?
Yeah, he will be available, and I think that game came a bit too early for him, so he had another 2 very good sessions, and now he's ready to go.
Coming up against Diego Simeone tomorrow, even one of the world's best managers. How highly do you rate him?
Well, at the highest level. I mean, I think what he's done since he got to Atletico has been outstanding. Not only what he have achieved, but the way he's done it. I think the identity that he has created to the club, to the team, the spirit, I think they are very simple and clear to identify, and that's because the manager is very much them. And that's extremely difficult to achieve for a short period of time, and to do it for 14 years, I think he's been there now, it's something incredible. So yeah, a pleasure to meet him.
After the match, there was a picture that went round of William Saliba on the team coach already watching Atletico Madrid. How did that come about, and how pleased you see your players already turning on to the next fixture?
Very pleased because I didn't encourage it. So it came from them, and that's the most powerful thing. That a game finishes, the job is done, and we've done it. But now, okay, what's next, and what's the next challenge, what's the next opportunity? And we know that it's going to be a really tough one. So the earlier we start to think about it and prepare, the better. So I love that initiative from the players, and it tells you how much they want it and how focused they are in what is next.
Dharmesh from Sky.
Hi.
Hi.
You mentioned Diego Simeone there, approaching 14 years. You're approaching 6 years at Arsenal. Do you look at Simeone as maybe an inspiration and maybe something that you'd like to do at this club?
Well, obviously there is someone that I look up to and learn from it in many situations. And what is for me outstanding is his passion. I think for how long he's been in the game and in the same club with the same players, how you still have that handle and that capacity to transmit such an energy and willingness to win. And then, yeah, it's a very tough environment that we live in, and to keep convincing players, you have to be extraordinarily well. I don't know him personally, but everything that I heard about him is that he is so good at doing that. That's the reason, one of the reasons why you are able to sustain at that level.
He's been linked with the Premier League on numerous occasions. Is he someone you'd like to see come to the Premier League?
He's gonna get tougher. We have enough and super good managers here, so I don't know. That will be completely up to him. If one day he wants to experience that, what I can say is that what I've seen and after analyzing the team, how well they are coached.
Just reflecting on your last 3 games in the Premier League, there's 1 point from those 3 games last season. You've got 9 out of 9 this time. What's changed, and what lessons have you learned, not just from those games, but from last season?
Well, we have to obviously get as much information as we can and understand the reasons why we dropped at some points there, and then try to implement them. But to be fair, sometimes from a draw to a win, there are details and things that have to go your way. But it's true that the team shows a different kind of maturity, threat, and probably conviction at this stage, but it's still very early. We have to do it now for another 30 games, and that's going to be the objective.
You say it's very early. The bookies have already made you the favourites for the title. Do you embrace that? And do you think you are the favourites now?
The only thing that I embrace is when I see the team, the energy, the temperature, the commitment, and the quality that they can deliver, that it gives me that conviction that we can go all the way. But that's it. That's just a feeling that the next day you have to prove it, the next training session you have to prove it, and nothing else, and we cannot be busy thinking about those topics.
Thank you.
Simon Standard.
Okay, just on carrying on with Simeone, when you started here, did you look at the way Atletico, how he sort of moulded the club's culture in his image, and you took from that something you wanted to do when you tried to mould the culture here?
No, I think I got that done more through my experiences and my beliefs, and especially my understanding of Arsenal and this football club I am experiencing here, because I think to put a different context to this one, it's extremely difficult. And at the end, I think you have to be authentic to your belief, your way of dealing with people, especially, which is the most important thing when you talk about culture. And slowly, yeah, you have an idea, and you have to, after through that, sometimes change a little bit the trajectory to understand what is the best for the club.
I just wanted to ask you one on the defence. Obviously, the numbers have been incredible this season. We've seen Gabriel Heinze, who joined in the summer. We see a lot in the warm-ups in working with the defenders, very animated. What's he sort of brought to the defence this season, and what is he like as a coach that he's added to your setup this year?
Well, I think that's something very, very collective with all the coaches, with the players, with their commitments as well. And Gabi added something different, that willingness to will, I think. And now we've seen that obviously through his career, that experience to win and to elevate somebody's level and ambition and drive to the highest limit. And he's extraordinary at that.
Tom, Football London.
Hi, Mikel. Of course, one of your main title rivals at the weekend failed to win, Liverpool against Manchester United. Do you ever notice on the training field after one of your main rivals has failed to win that your players perhaps have a bit more of a spring in their step during a training session?
I haven't noticed that, but obviously there is a lot of narrative afterwards. But that's it. I mean, every game in this league, it's a must-win and a very difficult game to win. And we all, I think, very appreciative of that. So you don't get carried away with any of that.
And just on Diego Simeone as well, when you come up against a manager who's been in place for such a long period of time, does that in any way make your preparation for perhaps what you might expect for them easier, or because there's so much data and so much evidence, does that in some ways make it harder to prepare for a game?
Well, on this one, I think the hardest thing is the time that you have, basically a day when you can't really do much to prepare that. Obviously, understanding and the time that we have spent to analyze them and understand that. They have evolved as well for the team that they were probably a year ago to now, and how they can change as well in relation to the context of the match, which is something very specific for this team. And in order to after prepare the best way, yeah, you want to give them everything, but how you're able to simplify the information and make it as concrete, as clear as possible for being in the best position to implement what we want to do tomorrow.
James, ESPN.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Can you just give us an insight into what makes Diego Simeone's team so difficult to play against and break down?
Well, first of all, the willingness to win. You can sense that in every single ball, in every single yard, the way they play. So it's about how they compete, and then after how they play. And I think there are two very different things. And in order to after analyze what they are, yeah, the level of organization is really high. The level of discipline is really high. And then they have acquired a lot of talent throughout the years that are very specific for the needs and the way they want to play, and they are very, very, very good at exploiting those opportunities.
As Darmish said, he has been linked with a move to the Premier League for years. I mean, do you think he could be successful? Do you think what he does in Spain and the Champions League could work in England?
Well, if you work in the Champions League, which is the highest competition in Europe, he can do it anywhere. And I don't know, you have to come here and try it and feel it, but I'm very sure that his know-how is unbelievable, and his character and willingness would take him anywhere, I think.
And just finally for me, obviously the set-piece record improved again at Fulham. Can you just talk a bit about the work that goes into maintaining that threat? Because you've been good at it. It's not a fluke. It's been 2-3 years where new routines come, the unpredictability is always there. Can you just talk a bit about the work that goes into maintaining that over such a long period?
Well, keep evolving and keep improving. It's a system that when you put it in place, the system has to learn every single day, every single game to become better. And that's in relation to the players that we have and what we learn from ourselves, and as well what we learn from the opposition, and try to be as consistent as possible. And in order to do that, you have to give importance to certain topic to become really important. We try to do that in the way that we share the time and the focus in game preparation, and then is delivery.
Yes, and Emma.
Hi, Mikel. With Gabriel Heinze, you just said before about his willingness to win, and he's obviously won a lot of tasks in his playing career. In the drills, he's often one-on-one with the players before and after the games. What does he kind of bring to the table in terms of the one-on-one scenarios with players?
That experience, I mean, somebody tells you if you do that, you're going to be successful, and you know that he's done it and he's been successful, it's a lot of credibility there.
And how have the players reacted to him? He's obviously a very passionate person. Also, I don't know, but from what you can see, how have the players kind of reacted?
It's a question for me. My feeling is that they already love him, which is normal. But the rest of the coaches is the same. They are all very different characters, but the relationship and the bond that we have with the players, I think it's unique, and I think that's something very, very powerful in a team.
Okay, I think we'll take a few questions in Spanish now. Spanish in the back?
Sí.
Yeah. Sí, yeah. Yeah.
Mikel, ¿qué tal?
Hola.
Luis Viñas, del Periódico El Mundo. Quería preguntarte un poco.
I want to talk about 2024 and Mikel Merino. How did you manage to get Mikel to Arsenal? We wanted him here for the project. We wanted him to meet us. We wanted him to feel happy here and succeed with the qualities that he has. He was lots of teams were interested in him, but he eventually wanted to come here. Getting to know all the players is really important for us. Thinking about Gabriel. Gabriel played against Fulham. Let's talk about his leadership. He plays a fundamental role for us, and the captains. He really wanted to play at Fulham, play his own version. He showed a lot of maturity and personality, and he really influenced the result with a lot of character. What are the similar points between your project and Simeone's project? My view is the admiration and the level of consistency, the results, the identity, the work that he puts in. Such large clubs who have experienced a lot of difficulties. Have a good team around you. It's important to have this mentality in this job.
Creo que estamos en un momento bueno, pero luego vamos a enfrentarnos a otro rival que nos va a exigir muchísimo y mañana vamos a tener que demostrar.
We hope that tomorrow we're going to have success in the game. This is what's important, and what happens after. We can think about after. And we can think about that difficult after. How is important is Julian Alvarez? I've seen what he's done. I've seen what he's done for the national team. What he's reached, what he's achieved has made a difference for them. I want to talk a bit about Martin Zubimendi. How did you convince Zubimendi to come to the Premier League?
Bueno, yo creo que más que convencer, al final es transmitirle la idea que tenemos con él.
I told him the ideas that we had
Para nosotros y el contexto que
and
él se va a encontrar. Al final es
how
una
he wanted to play
persona, creo que el
here
mayor
would be
problema que tenemos
ideal.
como club es nuestra historia y lo que transmite.
We have an amazing history as a club, and he saw that.
Una vida alrededor nuestro y a Martín lo
We
vi
wanted
enseguida
him to
convencidísimo de que
live the
quería
life
venir
we have here
y que se
and
sentía
achieve
lo
what
que
we're
le
doing here.
tratábamos de transmitir que él se lo sentía.
We tried to
Y luego
show
es
that
verdad
to
que
him,
Atleti,
and he
sobre todo
felt
por esa
that.
posición, y yo he visto muchos venir durante más de 20 años a esta liga y es una posición muy difícil donde asentarse porque no es una cuestión solo de jugar, es una cuestión de rol, de
It's not
jerarquía,
just a question
es
of
una posición
playing.
que requiere muchas cosas y
It
creo que
has,
Footy lo ha
there's
hecho
many
de
different
manera muy
assets
rápida,
to
además
coming
el
to the
respeto
club.
de todos y sintiendo
You have
esta
to respect
parte muy cómodo
everyone.
desde
You have
muy
to feel
pronto, que
comfortable,
es muy difícil aquí.
and I think he feels comfortable here.
For 10:30 tonight. Kick off with John from the Mirror.
Hello.
Hi.
You've spoken a lot about Diego Simeone, and we all know what a passionate guy he is. I'm sure you saw what happened at Anfield with the crowd. And I just wonder, on a managerial level, manager to manager, how difficult it must be at sometimes when you're on the touchline not to react, particularly when the crowd's right on top of you. It must be a test.
It is as well because you are defending your club and your players, and you know that small details can define at the end whether you win a match or not, and we are there living it with high emotions and very difficult to control. And you see sometimes when we get really upset, sometimes really high, we start to run with our players and celebrating goals. I think it's something natural. I think it has to be understood when it's done in a respectful way, as always. And from my experience, I think over the years, try to be a little bit calmer, but there are moments that obviously is not easy.
We know also what a passionate guy you are, as you say just then. Has that arguably been one of your toughest challenges to actually, I mean, you're known as being quite excitable on the touchline in the most respectful way, but equally, has that been one of the hardest things about keeping it together?
Yeah, especially the side that it doesn't give you much and it can take things to you or for the team, especially when you react in a way that is not necessarily good. I think because we have a responsibility as well to lead with an example, and sometimes I've done it. I've made mistakes on that, so try to learn from there and try to not to do them again.
Dave?
I wanted to talk to you about Simeone. Actually, you mentioned the clear identity that his team have got. I just wonder, in your own words, if you can expand a little bit on what that identity means to you.
Well, if I have to use it in very words, it's the willingness to win, you know, and then after that drives everything. Probably their methodology, the way they live, the way they behave, the way they act in everything, and the purpose that they have, which is at the end to win. And they find a way to do it, and they've changed a lot of players, and they changed, and the competition in Spain has increased, and they have two very big clubs, and they've always been there. And that's something that is driven by their mentality and their passion. And after that, yeah, there are specific things in the way, in my opinion, that he sees the game and he tries to encourage his teams to play that are more specific. But the main thing, I would say, is that.
I would also say, just listening to you talk about this Atletico team and Simeone, you could almost be talking about your own team. Is that a fair comment? Do you see that parallel between what you're saying about him and what you see with your own team?
I don't know from the outside. I'm just looking from my side. I don't have the detail there. What they have won as well, some major trophies. They've been in Champions League finals. They have made other steps there when it was really important to make that step. We need to do that, and we are in the journey to try to achieve it.
Sam?
3 goals conceded all season. Why is the defence so good?
Well, for many reasons, but obviously because collectively we acknowledge the importance of that. We feel it. We know that if we excel that part of the game, the chances and the probability to win football matches is going to be very, very high for us. And I try to implement it and then try to be consistent.
That buy-in from the forward players too, is that what kind of sets the tone
I think so. Yeah, because if there is not that connection, it's very impossible. Because in football, you don't get to choose which actions I do defend and which actions I don't. Because the ones that you don't want in the Premier League, in the Champions League, is enough to lose a match or to concede a goal. And then, yeah, rely on them and have very good players. Very important as well.
Is that something you think that you've had to instill in the players in your time here over the course of all these years?
I don't know. I try to do it, so they really feel it, that they don't do it like the Saliba example because we tell them to do it. I think when you are able to really put it in the players' veins and DNA, I think it's much more powerful.
And finally to Charlie.
Mikel, over the years, I'm sure you were Arsenal fans have sung sort of 1-0 to the Arsenal, and that sort of goes back to the period under George Graham when obviously they used to win 1-0 a lot and win the title. I was just wondering how much you, sort of, when you were first aware of this chant, and how much you know about that team that was so solid. There's there's Tony Adams and David O'Leary, some of these legendary players. What you know about that side, and obviously they perfected the art of winning.
Well, the details of that, not much, because it was a different era, but if that's associated to successful teams and teams that brought joy to our supporters and the club, more than welcome.
It shows you, doesn't it, that at that time they didn't care about, it was all about the victory, which is very much the case now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and especially now. In modern football, the margins and the results you see, it's one goal most of the times, a lot of the times, and that defines whether you win or not. So you have to be happy and comfortable dealing with those small margins and find ways to win it.
Okay, Ron. See you
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
thank you guys, thank you.